Likely, NATO member countries, such as the United States, will end up in conflict with Russia. But what's the military might and the size of the forces of the United States and other NATO countries if a Third World War breaks out? Join me as I attempt to address these and other questions related to the ongoing war in Ukrainian territory. Since the end of World War II, Europe has never been more intense. The conflict kicked off on February 24 when Vladimir Putin announced what he calls a special military operation to protect the population of the Donetsk region, which was being pursued by the Ukrainian government. The origin of the current conflict dates back to the end of the Cold War in 1991 when Ukraine signed an agreement with Russia, pledging not to influence the republics that had gained independence with the collapse of the Soviet Union. However, in the 90s, countries like the Czech Republic, Hungary, and Poland were already part of NATO. In 2002, things got more tense when the U.S. Senate approved NATO expansion and authorized financial aid to 7 countries in Eastern and Central Europe that wanted to become organization members. Currently, 14 out of the 30 NATO countries are from Eastern Europe. Since becoming Russia's leader, Putin has been working on the country's international resurgence, albeit discreetly. Over the years, Putin has managed to accumulate a reserve of $630 million, around 3.2 trillion reais, anticipating potential economic sanctions for Russia. By the end of last year, the country had already relocated some soldiers to the Ukraine border. Despite Putin's denials, the invasion took place at the end of February. Furthermore, Russia and China entered into a tactical alliance in February, escalating global concerns. Russia has prepared for this war and doesn't seem willing to end it anytime soon. With this alliance with China, the 2 Eurasian giants are on the same side. Faced with these facts, the question arises, are there chances of a Third World War occurring? After the attacks began, Volodymyr Zelensky, the current president of Ukraine, intensified appeals for the United States and NATO allies to declare Ukrainian territory as a no-fly zone, preventing Russian attacks. As he makes more moves, Zelensky also makes more of these claims. Despite the pleas, NATO authorities, including the United States, cannot provide military assistance to Ukrainians. This is because if NATO closes Ukraine's airspace, it would be like declaring war on Russia. The organization would have to attack Russian planes if they didn't respect the decision. In this hypothetical scenario, a significant war involving world powers would unfold, not just Russia and Ukraine, but all NATO members against Russia and China, who have an alliance. However, up to now, NATO's actions have been limited to sanctions, posing no threat to global peace. Additionally, NATO's Article 5 states that the organization must assist any member subject to an armed attack. Despite Ukraine's desire to join, it hasn't entered the organization, so NATO countries can't take any military action to help. Now, let's consider another hypothetical scenario. Suppose, especially the United States, decides to aid Ukraine and sends troops to combat Russian soldiers. What are the chances of Russia winning such a conflict? Or better yet, if we compare Russian military power to that of the United States, who would win this battle? This is a complicated and complex question. The United States, Russia, and China are considered the world's strongest countries in terms of military power. The United States is undoubtedly the strongest, but that doesn't mean they would easily win a war. This is because Russia possesses a formidable nuclear arsenal capable of causing havoc on the planet. Setting aside the nuclear arsenal, the United States has an overwhelming advantage in terms of military power, especially regarding naval and aerial strength. To reach this conclusion, one only needs to analyze the annual report of the International Institute for Strategic Studies, known as the Military Balance 2022, which indicates some numbers of each country's military power in relation to defense budgets. The difference is striking. While Russia has a budget of around $62 billion, the United States has an incredible budget of $715 billion. This represents 4.4% and 3.42% of each country's GDP, respectively. Additionally, in terms of military personnel, Russia has 900,000 active duty soldiers, while the United States has almost 1.4 million. In the reserves, Russia has 2 million soldiers, and the United States has about 843,000. Regarding air power, the United States has a significant advantage. They have about 1,172 combat aircraft, compared to Russia's 1,574. Concerning bomber aircraft, the United States has 76, while Russia has 66. For attack helicopters, Russia has 339, and the US boasts an incredible 740. As for drones, Russia has around 30, and the United States has an arsenal totaling about 400. In land conflicts, the infantry combat vehicles of Russia amount to 5,181, while the United States has 2,931. Concerning battle tanks, Russia leads with 2,927, whereas the United States has 2,645. The total artillery of Russia and the United States is 4,894 and 5,123, respectively. In maritime power, the United States has a clear superiority. They possess 11 nuclear-powered submarines with ballistic missiles compared to Russia's 14. Regarding guided missile attack submarines, the United States has 51, while Russia has 38. Furthermore, the United States leads in cruisers, destroyers, and frigates, with 113 compared to Russia's 31. In amphibious ships, Russia has 49, and the United States has 31. Therefore, analyzing these numbers makes it evident that the United States has considerable military superiority over Russia. However, it's crucial to remember that in a war, the nuclear arsenal must be taken into account. Even with this numerical advantage, the United States would have to contend with the Russian nuclear threat. In a hypothetical Third World War, the United States and Russia would engage in a terrible battle. However, we must consider the other 28 countries that are part of NATO. Combined, they would be capable of easily destroying Russia. The problem is that if this happens, many people will witness the devastating consequences of this conflict. We hope for the best not to occur and for the conflict to be resolved as quickly as possible. These are some insights into the military power of Russia and the United States. I'll stop here, but we'll see you in the next Fatos Desconhecidos video. Take care, goodbye.